So more than likely you came across a publisher rocket and you saw the price, which isn't outrageous, but you're wondering to yourself, does it actually help me sell more books? Does it give more exposure to my books and increase my readership? Well, if you're asking yourself that, you have come to the right place. I am Denis, the lead marketer with Weekend Publisher, and in this video, I'm going to give you an honest publisher or an honest review of Publisher Rocket and answer that question: can it help you sell more books? So in this video, I'm going to go over an overview of what it does, what I like about it, what I don't particularly love about it, who it's for, and who it's not for. So make sure you stay till close, at least to bullet number 5 there, of who it's not for, because why spend your money on getting it if it's not for you? One disclaimer before I get into it. I do have a link for Publisher Rocket down below. So if you do decide to get it, if you click through that link, I do get a couple extra bucks back if you purchase through that link at no extra cost to you. So if you do find this video useful, then certainly use that link. If you watch it and you say this guy is a clown, he doesn't help at all, then use someone else's link, or don't use that link at all. So that's one disclaimer out of the way. Another thing is, me and my team, we offer coaching to help use Publish Rocket, but also how to actually use that information. It's great to be able to use the software, but what do you do with the information that it gives you? So I'll link that down below as well. Well, let's get right into it by covering, here we are, an overview of what it does. So there are 4 main sections to this. So there's the keyword search, there's the competition analyzer, there's the category search, and the AMS, which is Amazon Ads. That's the old name for it, AMS, but you most likely hear referred to as Amazon Ads. And of course, there's tutorials, which you'll use once or twice, and then you'll just never touch again. I kind of wish they didn't have this big button here, you know, and just maybe up there. Anyways, that's a minor thing. In terms of keyword search, this will help you, as the name implies, find your keywords. These are primarily for the keywords. Now, if I just click on here, and it brings up where you can start putting your seed keyword. So, you know, here I'd put fantasy fiction for an example. Then we have here all formats. Kindle and Audible, which I'll talk about in just a moment, and the things that I do like about it. Yeah, so you say go get 'em Rocket, and you get a list of keywords or keyword phrases, I should say. Keywords is a misnomer. Really, a better term for it is keyword phrase, because whenever people think of keywords, they're just thinking about one word, mostly. But what really better word for it is keyword phrase, or a better term for it. Then if we click on a bunch of these magnifying glasses here, we could see the estimated Amazon searches a month and competitive score. So that's what it does. The next one here is competition analyzer. I use this almost daily when I work with clients. I can look up their book, I can look up their competition. So that certainly helps there. And maybe I'll get more into that, but this isn't sort of like how to use it. This is a review of it. Category search, which I find to be one of the most useful sections of this. Yeah, you can go into Amazon and find categories the free way by, you know, sifting through and browsing through Amazon, but it's just so much easier here. For example, you can select book, Kindle, or Audible, and you can just go with all 3. So you can just start typing. I'll use the example again here of fantasy. This will show you every single category on Audible, in the book section and in the Kindle section, that have the word fantasy in it, which is really super helpful. And it shows you the ABSR, or Amazon bestseller rank, of number 1, and then how many sales that translates to within a 24-hour period, and then ABSR of number 10 and sales to number 10. So give you an idea of how competitive that category is. So fantasy, that's great, but what if I just type in robots for an example? There we are. So you could see here, yeah, there's a few Audible ones here: engineering, automation, and robots, you know, children's books, Then we have some Kindle ones here, medical books, robotic. Okay. Yeah. So it gives you all these different, like, it's crazy that, you would see these categories, and it's very easy to find categories that you would not have perhaps normally found, because Amazon being Amazon, I don't know why, but they have different categories. Not every single category that is in books is in Kindle, and not every single category is in Kindle is in Audible, right? So for an example here, books, children's books, science fiction, robots. So that's in books, so the physical book. And then Kindle Store, they don't have, these two are Kindle Store. They don't have anything for the children's books. So you might have missed this if you weren't looking in the books sort of tree of categories. So it makes it so fast to find this information. And, time is money with a lot of things. And we'll get more to that. And then the last one here, AMS, or Amazon Ads keyword search. So you would type in something like fantasy space saga. So then it gives you all of these keywords, or these other authors, these other titles of other books, and the ASIN, which is really, really helpful to run ASIN Amazon ads. So all you have to do is export this, upload it to your Amazon ads, and you can start targeting people who type this in, and your book can show up, or your book can show up on these product pages. So that is an overview of what it does. Now I'm going to get into what I like about it. So I've already hinted at this a little bit. What I like about it is that it can save you a ton of time, especially in that category search and the Amazon ad search here. To find these, because if you don't have this and the ability to export it, you have to go through Amazon and literally like just copy and paste, and it takes so long. It'll take hours. It will literally save you hours of work doing this, because I've had coaching clients that have not had Publisher Rocket, and I don't want to force them into it, if they're in a tight budget or whatever, but it takes them hours and hours and hours. That is time that could be better spent doing anything, right? Like working on the next book, spending time with your family and friends or your loved ones or whatever, or making a YouTube channel. I don't know, anything. So it saves a ton of time. That's one thing I like about it. Another thing I like about it is that it's always updating. You pay once and it updates forever. I bought this in 2017 for $99, and it's still currently $99, depending on when you're watching this and what he does with the price. I don't know if it'll still be $99, but regardless, even if it went up to $130, it would still be worth it, because especially if you plan on making this, a long-term venture, you're not just in it for like a get rich quick or anything like that in terms of the publishing books, then it's going to be like really, I bought it in 2017, $99. I've used it 4 days a week since then. So what is that, like, pennies per day, right? And I still get the updates, which is amazing. So a couple of the updates that have happened in the past couple of years. One is that you can target, yes, the USA market, but you can also target the UK market, which is the next biggest primarily English-speaking market. Yeah, I know India has a lot of English-speaking people too, but most markets that people in the English-speaking world are going to be targeting are the US, and then they'll be going to the UK and then broadening off to Canada or Australia or whatever. Another one is Deutschland, Germany. There's a lot of also, it's a very first world country, and there's a lot of English speakers there as well. I haven't gone too much into that sphere, but it's available there if you want to go into there. So if you're switching, you can go switch and then find your categories also for the UK market. Give you, because not a lot of people are targeting so much the UK market. Everyone's so focused on the US, but in the UK, because not many people are focusing on it, what I do with my clients too is, well, let's run Amazon ads to the UK. Let's run Facebook ads to the UK, and let's determine what is our lowest cost per new reader. Where can we get a new reader for the least amount of money? So adding the appropriate categories for the UK market can also help you get that extra exposure, potentially even the bestseller in those specific categories, as long as the categories, make sense for your book. So that's another thing I like about it. And another update that he came out with just days ago is the ability to do Audible. So we saw the categories that have Audible, and he also has the sales data for Audible, which is super, super, super helpful, because Audible, yeah, it's come out a couple of years ago, but it's still like we were just kind of guessing at the sales data when we're looking at our competition. Now we have a much, much better idea, and we have a tool where we can look it up very quickly. So that is very, very much appreciated. And the other thing I like about it is that it's a one-time fee. Like I said, I already talked about that. And, if you're going to be using it more than just one-off, even if you're just using it one-off, like it, time is money. And, you have, once you buy it, you have it and you own it for the rest of your life. So whether you use it a bunch now and then a bunch later, you always have it in your back pocket. Oh yeah, Publisher Rocket. I'm going to download that, reinstall it and play with it. So what I don't like about it particularly much is the keyword search area. So let me go into fantasy fiction here. This is just an example here. Once I hit this magnifying glass here, we could see, okay, well, this is a good example in real time here. So let's just make sure that I have keyword search. I'm going to do Kindle only, fantasy fiction. So keywords, I'm not in love with this module, and I'm going to give you a reason why. Oh, because I'm in the, okay, this is a perfect example here. I'm looking at the searches a month, only 140 searches a month. There's got to be way more than that. Then notice the sign for British pounds. Always make sure that you're within the right market before actually carrying out your actions, because that was, a couple hundred searches a month. Let's see. Fantasy fiction. Let's see how many searches we got here. Ah, look at that, like 10 times more. So that was on purpose. That was a good teaching point. So when you're looking for keywords here, for example, of fantasy fiction, the estimated Amazon searches a month, we have 1,500 and a competitive score of 79. So the competitive score, the higher, the more competitive it's going to be. Okay. With lower competition, I'll just show you, it's different colors here, right? So we have here 61 is moderately competitive and 20 is low competition. But of course, fantasy fiction magazine, like there's not many people searching for that, like less than 100, which is fair. Like how many people are searching for fantasy fiction magazines? But one thing I don't particularly love about this, and I'll finally get to it, is that this changes can be somewhat volatile. Right, so fantasy fiction, this makes sense to me. Like 1,600 a month, a competitive score of 80. As per my gut, that makes sense. Okay, I would expect that keyword to be very competitive. But what I guess is that they are taking the software is taking a snapshot in time. Whenever I'm pushing this magnifying glass here, it's taking, boom, snapshot of Amazon. This is my guess, that they're taking a snapshot and determining the searches a month and determining the competitive score. The downfall is that if you're going to be using one of these keywords here, one of these keyword phrases for your subtitle, you really want to make sure that this is somewhat steady. Okay, because once you do the subtitle, you can't change it. So say we were thinking about putting fantasy fiction as our subtitle. We check it one day, and it has, wow, competitive score of 30, 1,500 searches a month. All right, let's use that as our subtitle. But then you launch your book, you search for it again, and the competitive score is up to 50 or 80 or something. You're like, what happened there? So it's not always steady. I wish I wish the software would have historical data of that in terms of the competitive score was up and down. It was all volatile, right? I want something that is consistently low or moderately competitive. So with my clients, we search for it over multiple days just to make sure it does have some steadiness to it. So that's something I don't love. I wish it did have historical competitive score. And also keywords are fairly hyped. up. People get so hung up on keywords. Oh, what do I have the right keywords? Are they too short? Are they too long? Are they not competitive enough? Are they too competitive? There are enough searches a month, blah, blah, blah. But this is what I mean by them being hyped. And let me just bring up right here on their own website, on Dave Cheson's website, the Kindlepreneur. We can see here the Amazon popularity effect and how it determines what keywords you're going to be indexed for based on how many sales that you get. So if you see here, the number of sales, and then this white line here is the number of keywords that you're indexed for. So if you have low sales, you're not going to be indexed for a lot of keywords. Once your sales go up, then slowly the number of keywords that you get are indexed. But you can see here that these are consistent sales. Even if you just have a big blip in sales, like here, if you do a price promotion, for an example, you could tell by the white line here, it just blips up just a little bit. So this is Amazon saying, oh, this book is popular. Oh, let's give it a chance with more keywords. Let's give it more organic exposure. Oh, okay, yeah, it was just a little blip. Okay, we're just going to keep them down here in terms of index keywords. So if you don't plan on having, and this might seem weird to some people, but if you don't plan on having, or if you don't have a marketing plan in place to get consistent sales, then the keywords are not going to be a ton of help. So that's what I mean in terms of keywords are sort of overhyped, as well as like, you can't just go and change your keywords in the back end of your dashboard. You know, those 7 slots there. You can't just change your keywords and expect, oh, wow, that all my issues are now solved. It's all part of the overall plan. Okay. So that's why I mean they're overhyped. So unless I would start with a plan to get more consistent sales first, and then once you start getting those, or once you have that plan, once you feel comfortable with it, then, okay, let's start focusing on the keywords. And that makes more sense. So who is this for? This is for someone who's planning on doing Amazon ads, which would help with those consistent sales. Like I mentioned before, this is going to save you a ton of time. And again, I'll just do Kindle only here. Fantasy fiction. To come up with this list right here, all of these would take you, gosh, man, probably an hour or two to come up with all this. Like, search the word fantasy fiction, or maybe I spelled it wrong, fantas fiction. To search the term fantasy fiction, to go through the books in the first couple of pages, and to copy and paste all of these. Yeah, there's some duplicates here, but in terms of the author, but this would take a long time, really long time. So yeah, if you plan on doing Amazon ads, which I recommend you do, then this is going to save you a ton of time. It's also going to be really, really helpful for those releasing a non-fiction book as well. So if we go to the keyword search here, like I said, I'm going to say lose weight. See if you're coming up with a book with a non-fiction book. What you can do as well is lose weight like crazy. That sounds almost like it would be a book. Yeah, lose weight like crazy, even if you have a crazy life. And that's kind of a catchy title. Lose weight, love God. Okay. So what you can do is you can use this to guide you in naming your book, because the relevance of people searching in the keyword, Amazon puts a lot of weight on the title of the book. So you're not going to name your fantasy fiction book. You're not going to change it from, I don't know, what's a random book, The God of Worlds or something like that, to fantasy fiction. Like, that's the title of the book. That just doesn't make any sense. But you can do that with nonfiction. And with fiction, you can do it in the subtitle, but especially with nonfiction, it's going to be super, super powerful. And it's also very, very helpful for those who are releasing more than one book. Like I said, that price is, the $99 as it is now. It's over time, it's going to save you. Yes, even with one book, it's going to save you a lot of money. But with multiple books, it's going to save you a ton of time. So especially for those who are plan on coming out with multiple books. Okay, who is it not for? Who is it not for? And do you fit into this category? If you fit into this category, don't buy it. Just don't spend your money on it. Your money would be spent better on anything else. Go order a couple of pizzas for you and your friends. Who it's not for is those who are planning on releasing one fiction book and have no marketing plan in mind. So if that is you, and not everyone wants to, make it a bestseller and wants to get all this, a bunch of sales and want to make it full time and create multiple series and all that type of stuff. That's not everybody. For a lot of people, it's just, writing a book is on their bucket list, and they'll release a book and it's on Amazon and they got a couple of people to write reviews on it. And now they could say that they're a self-published author. So if that is you, if I'm describing you here, then there's no need to get this. What you need to do is have a marketing plan in mind. Am I going to be doing Amazon ads? Does that fit my goals and my budget? Do I care so much about categories? Am I going for a hot new release section, or am I going for bestseller in a category? Do I care about the competition? Do I care about, making it keywords? Do I, again, keywords being overhyped? Do I plan on getting consistent sales to actually make this make sense? That's what you have to ask yourself. If you don't fit into that category, Publish Rocket would be useful for you. And that is based on 5 years of experience so far. Again, I do have a link down below. It is an affiliate link. If you found this useful, then certainly use that link to purchase it. I get a couple of dollars back at no extra cost to you. Again, I do coaching as well to use Publish Rocket, but also how to use that information. Amazon ads I talked about, does Amazon ads fit your budget? Does it fit your goals? Or Amazon ads, is it the right time to do Amazon ads for you right now? That's all stuff that we coach you to determine and to really start, working towards your goals. Again, I'm Denny with Weekend Publisher. All the links I mentioned to are down below. And I'll see you in the next one.